It's March 31st. I'm going to give you a garden update and let you know what's going on today. So bear with me, I'm going to jump around. Okay, today I'm going to till. As you seen the other day, the garden was looking a little green between the rows. And what's happening is I have a little bit of grass where I didn't manage good once I finished planting the garden last year. So I got my little tiller out, and I've got most of the real green, but there's still some places down here that look green between the rows. When it starts getting that way, it's time to start tilling, because you can see all this little grass that's coming up here. Now when you till, you want to till up close to your plants, especially during your wet season or early season. You know, we've been getting rain here pretty good lately, and what that does is it cuts any side roots that may be coming out because there's plenty of water up top, and it makes your feeder roots come from down deeper. What that's going to do is increase your drought resistance once you get into the drier season. As you can see, the potatoes are doing good. Now, like I mentioned in the last video, these are determinants, so it doesn't do a lot of good to pull dirt up to them. But with that being said, today after I get finished tilling, or possibly even tomorrow, I'm going to pull dirt up against these potatoes. And the reason for that is I don't want, when it starts making potatoes, want them to be sticking out where they get sunlight, you know, and ruin the potato. So that's the only reason. It's not going to give me any better production. It's just well, it will give me better production because I won't have to throw out any green ones. As you can see, the purple hull peas are doing good. I've actually got these sectioned to where I won't be watering those at the far end with my overhead watering system, so I don't get the tomatoes. And I wanted to see how much difference they will produce, because they don't, the dry weather doesn't bother them as much. But I want to see what the production rate is related to watering or not watering with the overhead water system. Now the corn's coming up, but it's still too small for me to want to take and start thinning it. Now some of it is still coming up. It's a little slow. The seed that I've got is at least a couple years old, but once they get a little taller, what I'll do is thin them, and then once they get to about a foot, I'll take and side dress them with some ammonia sulfate. But I still have some work to do. Now what we did the other day was we set out our transplants, and of course these pumpkins, they go crazy. We did get some a temperature down to about 46, but it really didn't affect them. I wanted to keep them in before it got then until the temperatures got up to 50 degrees at night, because 50 is kind of the number, but as you can see, it didn't affect them. Same thing with the sweet potatoes here. They're looking good. We don't have any wilt from the leaves and such. They ought to be coming on good. The watermelons are doing good. Now I just planted a couple rows of a couple different varieties. I'm not going to try to grow a whole lot of watermelons. Me and the family can only eat so many, so, and it's not like I'm doing it for production. And then we have a couple of cantaloupes. This one here is kind of little. This cantaloupe's a little bit bigger. These are Israel cantaloupes, which are a nice large, nice sweet cantaloupe. And right here they got the zucchini squash. Now this year we didn't plant any yellow squash, and we don't have any need to, because we vacuum packed and froze a whole bunch last year, which was kind of the deal, so we could rotate out and grow what we wanted. And the jalapeno peppers are doing good now. It looks like some of them might need to be staked to keep them upright. Usually they have a good strong stem to them, but occasionally you might have to stake one. But they're all doing good. The 50-degree weather didn't harm them any. Now that these pitiful looking tomato plants, and we hope they start to come out of it, you can see how they're having a nutrient problem with these yellow leaves, but that was all due to potting wrong. And these are the bell peppers. They're doing really good. And of course, we got the garlic over here. We've got about 3 different kinds in there. It seems to be doing pretty fair. What I'll do also today is I'm going to I'll take and go down and I'll make sure all the limbs are up, resting, so they're actually growing up in the basket. I'll get the long limbs or the long branches, and I'll just bring them up and rest them on the side of the basket. Now, I'll also have to get my tape or cord, and I'm going to have to start tying these up. They're standing up fine, but it won't be long. They'll start to lean over. And so what I'll do is train them towards the sticks right now, and then I'll just keep an eye on them after they grow. About every foot I'll probably tie them up again. But as you can see, the peppers are doing good. Now these celebrities are doing a lot better. I can't say that they're better than the early girl bush. It's because a lot of the problem with these early girls was the potting mix that I used after I took the plants out of the starter cell. So, that was a learning experience, because I've never had that problem before with any of my peat not being able to soak water. You know, I've had some that's resistant to it, but this was, after it dried out for a full year, it just would not soak any water. But that's kind of where we're standing today, and I'll come back in here after I get this taken care of. And another thing I want to mention too is on these tomato plants, what I'm going to do is, and you need to watch them, as you can see this plant here, how the leaves are starting to develop some yellows. Your lower branches will do that, and what you need to do is, which I'm going to come back and put some compost around these, kind of like a mulch. But as I see these develop like this, as soon as I see them, I take and snap these off. They'll have to be taken off anyway, because that's where your disease is transferred from the ground. But you want to just come up here and just pinch this limb off right next to the plant and get rid of it. Now, I always throw it out of the garden because I don't like that tomato smell to be out here in the garden, because I kind of get the feeling that it's going to draw cutworms or something else. It's going to be looking for a damaged plant. There will be a little bit of smell on the plant itself, but like I say, remove these and keep your plants healthy, because if you don't remove these, this is going to walk up your plant, and you're going to have a situation where your whole plant's going to have that infection, and then it's going to start dying. So if you want healthy plants, keep an eye on them. And like I say, I'll have to go through and after I till and get ready to start mulching, I'll pinch all these off today, all the lower branches, and then as it gets a little taller, I might pinch a few more off. It just depends on how close they are to the ground. I don't want to take enough that it's not going to grow, but I want to make sure I remove any chance of it getting disease and causing the plant to be stunted or die.